Hello, welcome to the afternoon newscast here with John Frank at JDS. Today, my reporter Scholar and Nora will be informing you of the current event occurring in the Korean War. A year ago, North Korea and South Korea saw the worst times of their lives. The war began in 1950 and ended on 1953, last year when North Korea's Communist Army crossed the 38th parallel. This causing mass destruction in both countries and causing 5 million people to die, including 40,000 of those being Americans. This occurred due to the Soviet Union wanting to spread communism across the countries. A year later, the war still continues between the two countries because a peace treaty was never formed. This war destroyed and divided families who were a part of both the Koreas, the North and the South. However, it uplifted the economy of the United States and Japan after World War II. In the future, North Korea and South Korea will be forced to be isolated from each other to avoid any conflict and any problems to come to a start. The Korean War began on June 25th, 1950 at 4:30 a.m. 6.8 million men and women served in the military to help their country. 5 million were dead, some haven't even been found, others are wounded, and their lives are still affected tremendously. The US dropped more bombs all over Korea and they had the most damage done. The United States was one of the 16 countries involved in the Korean and South Korean War. Still to this day, North Korea is known to be as the most hardline communist state.
To Ms. Johansson, reporting live from the 38th parallel. Ms. Johansson, may you please inform us on the positive and negative effects of the Korean War? And also, may you give us your viewpoint on what you see happening there at the 38th parallel? Ms. Johansson, may you please inform our viewers on the overall effects the Korean War had on both the Koreas?
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm your reporter, Scarlett Johansson, and I will be informing all of you about the positive and negative effects of the Korean War in 1950. The Korean War caused the deaths of 33,652 people overall, but many were wounded. Still to this day, after 1 year, both Koreans, North and South, still have the social differences, and that brings in both conflict overall and decisions. Many families were divided, and still today, many families live in hope of reuniting with their families. This war made the military powerful throughout the whole world. As of right now, after many years, no one can pass the wall that divides both Koreas. So as you guys can tell, there's North Korea and this is South Korea, and this is the 38th parallel where they divide. With it being watched 24/7 by so many securities, no one can cross the border. I will now refer you to Ms. Miller, reporting live from Washington, D.C. Ms. Miller, may you please inform us on the U.S. and Soviet Union relationship?
How will North Korea and South Korea come to a resolution, and how will they make decisions without having to involve one another?
After the tragedy of this battle, North Korea will become very isolated and will limit many freedoms. North Korea denied many of the natural rights. Furthermore, no one has freedom of speech. Only the regime can give an opinion. South Korea will be known to be the complete opposite and will improve, and it will have a lot more freedom than North Korea will.
Why is the Korean War going to affect Korea financially, and why was the war so expensive?
Harry S. Truman, known to be the 23rd president, influenced for the Korean War to proceed. Harry S. Truman had only 82 days as the vice president and had to substitute for President Roosevelt due to his death. Truman, being the president, had to lead the United States to the victory of North Korean War. However, he failed at his task. The leader of North Korea was Kim Il-sung, the communist, and the leader for South Korea was Sang-ri, the capitalist. This war brought major ruins for both North and South Korea. The total cost of the Korean War was $30 billion back then in 1953. But now in this day, this equals to about $341 billion. As to the war, Families of veterans are still receiving recompense. Wives are to receive lifetime recompense only if the veteran died due to the wounds of the war. Children are recompensed till age 18 unless if the child is disabled is recompensed to life. All the benefits and recompenses cost roughly up to $2.8 billion per year.
I have a couple of questions for you, if you wouldn't mind answering them, please. Why is there so much tension between the US and Soviet Union, and what may have caused it?
Now, tension has risen between the United States and the Soviet Union because of how Stalin felt the US took longer than necessary to set up a second front during World War II. Along with the threat of nuclear warfare becoming advanced each and every day. This has caused a lot of suspicion to sprout between both countries, causing the relationship to become even more unhealthy and dangerous.
For my last one, Nora, how is the mutual defense treaty between South Korea and North Korea, the US, benefiting both of the countries?
Well, Don, we should be cautious about this threat, especially since the Soviet Union is advancing so far with their atomic bombs. Many believe it will be happening in the near future, but no one is for sure. Some predict that North Korea will be targeting South Korea and the US in the near future, depending on how far advanced they are with their bombs and weapons. The US is hoping that one day North Korea and the Soviet Union will give up its nuclear weapon ideas and prevent a massive disaster from happening in the future. Now, it's benefiting both of us because we have the ability to watch North Korea along the border and keep an eye on them while also having military bases around the country and hopefully more in the future. It benefits South Korea by being protected by a stronger and larger country and having us, the US, to support and help their economy and military to become stronger and more helpful.
Overall, the Korean War had a large effect on both the South and North Korea. By 1948, last year, Korea was divided in half at the 30th parallel, with the capitalists living in the north and the communists living in the south, ruled by Syngman Rhee. The United States wanted to prevent the spreading of communism by using the domino effect. However, it did not work. The war began when North Korea crossed the 30th parallel. The reason they did this was because of the spreading of communism. The war still continues and will continue until an actual peace treaty is formed to stop the war from taking place. The war had positive and negative effects. One of the positives was that the military grew tremendously and it improved, and the negative was that families were destroyed and they were being taken away from each other and they were being divided. It destroyed lives of the families completely. Overall, the Korean War has got calmer because of the defense treaty that was made, but it never stopped. So that means the Korean War can actually happen again. This newscast has come to an end, and we really hope the future no problems will come between North Korea and South Korea. Thanks for being with us and accepting my reporters and I to provide you with our knowledge, and we hope this newscast help you be well informed of what's going around in your surroundings.